Good afternoon. Excuse me, I guess good morning. This is Mr. Sadler coming to you live from the internet on Monday, March the 9th, 2015. Okay, the purpose of this video is for me to go through the solutions from the weekend's homework and hopefully clarify things. This is going to be fairly fast-paced, meaning that I'm just going to, rather than ask for feedback from the class and all that, I'm just going to quickly go through the answers as quickly as I can. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the supply teacher to hand out, there's more homework for tonight for you guys to try it out. Then we can go through some more solutions tomorrow. So if I'm going too quickly, can I get someone to please raise their hand, and we'll stop the, and the supply teacher then will hopefully stop the video. Here we go. This is number 12. You don't have to write this down, the question, I'll just write it down for completion. It says, on the 42-kilometer go kart course at Sports World, Arshia drives 0.4 kilometers per hour faster than Sarah, but she has engine trouble partway around the course and has to stop to get the go-kart fixed. This stop costs Arshia 1/2 hour, and so she arrives 15 minutes after Sarah at the end of the course. How fast did each girl drive, and how long did each girl take to finish the course? Answer to 1 decimal place. Alright, so this question here is unfortunately the most difficult one that I gave you, and it happened to be number 1. There's a few issues that I see here. Number 1 is that we're dealing with minutes and hours. Also, if you read the last sentence, it says how fast did each girl drive and how long did it take each girl to finish the course. There's tons of unknowns here. Okay, I'm going to start with the beginning and say how fast did each girl drive. So I'm just going to start and say let x equals Sarah's speed. Okay, where I'm getting that from, I'm looking right to the top here. This compares the two speeds right here. So if x is Sarah's speed, then hopefully x plus 0.4 is Arshia's speed. Alright. Alright, what else do we know? Well, it looks to me like I know that 42 is going to be Sarah's distance. And 42 is also going to be Arshia's distance. Alright, now this is where things are going to be a little bit tricky. They're both going to be racing in this time, but there's going to be a few stops and all that sort of stuff. So let's see if I can understand as far as the timing goes. So it says, Arshia has, where are we here? Arshia has engine problems, and she stops for half an hour. So she arrives 15 minutes after Sarah at the end of the course. So what we're going to say is that if you take Arshia's time and you add 30 minutes to it, that's going to equal Sarah's time plus 15 min. And that's the logic I'm going to use here. Now, this is where things are going to get a little bit tricky again. I keep saying that. But what happens in this one, because our units are going to be in hours and kilometers, I'm going to switch it up so that it says, Arshia's time plus 1/2 equals Sarah's time plus 1/4. Where I got 1/4 and 1/2 were, whereas the 30 minutes is equal to, 1/2 and 15 minutes is 1/4. If you want to simplify this, which I'm going to, I'm going to call that Arshia's time plus 1/4 equals Sarah's time. Okay, so there's my equation. The way I'm going to set up the equation now is I'm going to make up an equation here using my equation editor. And I'm going to say then we're going to use the fact that time is going to be distance over speed. So Arshia's distance is going to be 42. Her speed is going to be x plus 0.4 plus 1/4 equals bracket 42 over x. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so everyone can see. Okay, so now to solve this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste. I'll write what I'm doing here so that if you're getting too messy. As I mentioned, I don't like fractions, so the first thing I'm going to do is multiply by 4. This is an optional step, but I like it in there because, as I mentioned, I don't like fractions. 42 times 4 should be 168. That's going to get rid of that. That's just going to make that plus 1 equals 168 over x. So I multiplied this by 4, and I got, 168. 1/4 times 4 is 1, and 42 over x. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by x plus 0.4. Okay, what that's going to do for us here, hopefully, is get rid of the fraction on the left-hand side. Okay, so this is just going to change to be 168 plus 1 times x plus 0.4 equals 168 bracket x plus 0.4. So if you remember how we're doing this, all we're doing here is we're just making, getting rid of the fractions. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by x to get rid of the denominator. So that changes to then 168x. I'm going to get rid of that 1, and I'm just going to call that x equals 168 x plus 0.4. Okay, and there's my equation. As far as the domain, I probably should have done this easier. I'm going to say my domain is just going to be x has to be greater than 0. Okay, we're dealing with positive numbers here again. Okay, so let's do a little bit of algebra here. I'm just going to expand my brackets. So I'm going to call that 168 plus x squared plus 0.4x equals 168x plus, now I'm going to get my trusty dusty calculator here, and I'm going to do 168 times 0.4. By the way, for the supply teacher, if you look at the kids and they're struggling, please hit pause and give them a chance to catch up. I'm going to move everything to the left-hand side now, so it's going to be x squared plus 168x minus 168x plus 0.4x minus 67.2 equals 0. So what I did was this 168x here turned to be negative 168x here, and this positive 67.2 changed to be negative. So that changes to x squared plus 0.4x minus 67.2 equals 0. Alright, so what you guys will want to do probably is use quadratic formula. I'm going to change it around a little bit. I'm just going to copy this and go to the next page so that we don't lose it there. Okay. For those who want to use quadratic formula, you may, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by 10, making 10x squared plus 4x minus 672 equals 0. That changes then to 5x squared plus 2x minus, I think that's 338. Let me just check. Whoops. 336 equals 0. Okay, the reason I did that was this is going to remove the fractions, right? And this will actually factor now, I believe. So we're going to multiply to get 5 times 336 is 1680. And we're going to add to get 2. That's a negative. The way I'm going to actually factor this, sorry if I'm destroying your view here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the square root of 1680, and I'm going to find that that's about 41. So I'm going to guess, remember we're going to say the fact that if you're adding 2, that means the gap between the two numbers has to be 2. So I'm going to call that 40 and negative 42. And let's check out if that actually works, and it does. Okay. So again, if you want to use quadratic formula, you'll still get the same answer. 40 goes better with that. So I'm going to multiply it like that. This changes to 5x, x plus 8, minus 42, x plus 8 equals 0. And you have 5x minus 42, x plus 8 equals 0. So we have x equals 42 over 5, which happens to be 8.4, or x equals negative 8. Therefore, Urshia, who's the first person? Who do we solve for there? X was Sarah's. Did I miss something? I think we're good. Oh, I got my numbers backwards. Oops, sorry. That should be a negative, this should be a plus. Sorry about that if you were trying to copy that. So that should be a plus, making this a minus, making this a plus, and making this again a minus. Plus, it's negative, so that's negative, or x equals e from the rate. Therefore, Sarah's speed is 8 kilometers per hour, where she is 8.4 kilometers per hour. As far as what each person's time was, what you're just going to do is you divide both by 42. Okay, let's do the next question here to make sure things are good. So the next question will be number 14. It says, river flows at 2 kilometers per hour, and John takes 6 hours to row 16 kilometers up the river and 16 kilometers back. How fast did he row? Okay, well that's obvious then. So if let x equals John's rowing speed. Now this is a little bit different because he's going towards and against the river. So x plus 2 is going to be John's speed with the river. And then x minus 2 is going to be John's speed against the river. 6 is going to be John's distance up the river. 6 is, 16's right. Is going to be John's distance against the river. And 6 is going to equal his total time. This is going to be very much like the question involving Alana and Carissa on Friday that involved them paddling as well. So we're going to say 6 is going to be your time upstream plus your time downstream. Let's make an equation of this now. So 6 equals, and I'll make this a little bit bigger in a sec. 16, his speed upstream is going to be x minus 2 plus 16 over x plus 2. Make it a little bit bigger. Okay, great. Let's copy that. Again, our domain here is going to be x has to be positive. Probably in this case we'll also say x has to be bigger than 2. Because if he's going 1.5 and the river is going 2, that means that the river will be going faster than he'll be paddling, which isn't good. Okay, so let's copy and paste this, and we'll try again here. So we're going to multiply first of all by x minus 2. I'll write that in here. That's going to get rid of the first bracket. So it's going to be 16 bracket x minus 2 equals 16. Okay, great. Then I'm going to multiply by x plus 2, and that changes to 6 bracket x minus 2 x plus 2 equals 16 x plus 2 plus 16 x minus 2. Okay, and life is getting to be good here because we're this is just a regular quadratic to solve. I'm going to move this once again to the next page so that we can see it nice and high. Whoops. Okay, we'll start distributing now, so that changes to 6x minus 12 x plus 2. And as I'm doing this, for the supply teacher, I'm probably going extraordinarily fast for the class, so feel free to go back if you have to, or ask the class how's it going without this. Okay, so to FOIL the next one, it's going to be 6x squared plus 12x minus 12x minus 24 equals 32x. And again, plus 32 and minus 32 just cancel out. To simplify now and solve, we're going to the plus 12x and minus 12x cancel out, but that 32 is going to become minus 32 over here, minus 24 equals 0. They all divide by 2, is that it? I think so. Change to 3x squared minus 16x minus 8 equals 0. Does anything minus 16 minus 12 equals 0. Does anything multiply to negative 36 and add to negative 16? The numbers are going to be 2 and negative 18. And once again, if you can't find those numbers instantly, feel free to use the quadratic formula. But for me, it's easier to use factoring if I can. So we're going to say x is either equal to negative 2/3, which will wipe out, or x is equal to 6. Therefore, John can paddle at 6 kilometers per hour. This is more of like, there's on your test, there's going to be like one easy question, one difficult question. And the one that we just did would be like the easy question, right? The rest of these are probably like the more difficult questions. All right, so I have 2 left to do, and then we will give you guys a chance to get started on your work here today. So here's number 15. 15 says, Jamie bought a case of concert t-shirts for $450. She kept 2 for herself and sold the rest for $560, making a profit of $10 on each shirt. How many shirts were in the case? All right, so if you've been working on these this weekend, you tried really hard, you'll sort of get an idea of the process of what we're going to do. We're going to start with our x's. Generally, that's going to be in our denominator for these questions, okay, and we'll be comparing 2 things. Let's start with the let statement first. Let is going to be let x equals the number of shirts in the case. The reason I got that was from this piece of information right here. Now, this is how many would happen to be in the case. Because she kept 2 for herself, we're going to say x minus 2 is going to be the number of shirts she sold. Okay, so what are we comparing this time? It looks to me it's going to be the price of each shirt, okay? So what we're going to say is that we're going to let 560 is going to be the total shirts sold, and 450 is going to be the total shirts bought. Total money, I guess, of shirts sold. Total money of shirts bought. Okay, so then what we're going to say is that $10, I'll make it a little bigger, $10 is going to be the difference between the sale per shirt minus cost per shirt. So the way we're going to get our equation here, hopefully, is 10 equals, if you think about what she's actually selling, that's going to be 560 over x minus 2 minus 450 over x. Now you have to include the other shirts in here. We'll talk more about profit when I come back, but the main idea about profit is you're thinking it's the revenue minus your sales. How much money she's bringing in is the sale per shirt. How much money she's actually selling is the, how much she's actually selling is this here. How much she actually bought them for is there. So we'll do our equation, we'll do the same thing. As far as the number of shirts bought, that's going to be our domain. Our domain has to be x such that x is greater than or equal to 2. Actually greater than 2, I guess, because she has to have sold at least 2 shirts. Okay, so we're going to do this like we did before. So we're going to multiply by x minus 2. You'd hope you can see the steps here are mostly the same. So this turns, whoops, what happened there? So I want to copy this. So the steps are the same at this point. We're just going to keep multiplying by our denominators to get rid of them. Hope I can fit this on one page. So we're going to multiply, whoops. Change to 10x, x minus 2 equals 560, x minus 450, x minus 2. Okay, I'll move that to the next page, and then we will do a little algebra there. Hope you're starting to feel confident in the algebra, at least here. Making the first step of the word problems is the trickiest, obviously, but hopefully the algebra you're starting to feel really good at this point. So what I did was just distribute everything there. Now I'm going to move everything to the left. So that's it. Whoops. That changed to 10x squared minus 20x minus 560x plus 458x minus 900 equals 0. That's 10x squared. 580 minus 130 minus 900 equals 0. I'm going to divide everything by 10 to get as smallest number as possible. Okay, so once again, you can use the quadratic formula. I'm going to factor. That should be, I think, negative 18 and 5, I think. If you're saying to yourself, oh no, my name is, I don't know, who am I picked on today? My name is whoever, and I'm Liam, let's say, and I'm not good at factoring my 18 times 5 to get 90. That's okay. Quadratic formula is an okay solution. That's all right. So now I'm just going to common factor. So x equals 18, or x equals negative 5. We'll get rid of the negative. We'll say that therefore there were 18 shirts in that case. Alright, good stuff. Alright, last question of the day. Let's see how long this video is going on now. 21 minutes. That's alright. Last question of the day is going to be the one about the food. Okay, so I'll type this out here for you guys. Hopefully you have your sheets with you. If not, if you can look off by the person beside you. It says, grade 11 class on a field trip to Montreal. Wouldn't that be nice? Had lunch in a restaurant. The bill came to $239.25. 4 students had birthdays that day, and it was agreed that these 4 students should not have to pay for lunch. The other students had to pay $1 more than if all students had paid. How many students had lunch? Okay, so this is a little tricky equation to set up. This is basically the idea, right? The way you're going to say it is that, let's say that everyone was supposed to pay $7. Basically, because of the birthdays, you'd be adding $1, so that should equal $8. Okay, that's basically what we're saying. So this is going to be the cost for all plus 1 equals costs for those who paid. So that's what we're saying. So $7 a person plus $1 per person. I should probably call this per person. For all equals cost for those who paid. Okay, that's what we're doing. That's our logic here that we're going to use for this equation. So let's start off here. It says how many students had lunch. Well, x is going to equal, let x equals the number of students who had lunch. Then let x minus 4 equals the number of students who paid. We're going to say 239.25 equals amount paid. Amount paid in total. Okay, and I think that's it. So the cost per person for all, so let's say if we would have had every student will have paid, it would have been 239.25 over x plus 1 equals 239.25 over x minus 4. So let's just make sure we know how we got that equation from. So what I did was, again, that's what I did. The cost per person for the entire class is $239.25 per X. That's how much each student will be paying. You add $1 on there and you're ending up with this right-hand side. Okay, so we're going to do our domain first of all for the class. For my X, we're going to say that X has to be greater than 4. There has to be more than 4 kids in the class. I'm going to move this equation to the next page so we have lots of room, I think. Okay, so I'm going to multiply first of all by X. Okay, that changes to 239.25 plus X equals 239.25X over X plus 4, or X minus 4. And I'm going to multiply by X minus 4. That changes to 239.25 X minus 4 plus X minus 4 equals 239.25X. Now I'm just going to distribute like usual and then bring everything to the left hand side. So that's going to be 239.25X minus, in my handy dandy calculator, 239.25 times 4 is minus 957 plus X squared minus 4X equals 239.25X. I'll bring everything to the left hand side. So it's going to be X squared plus 239.25X minus 4X minus 239.25X minus 957 equals 0. So it just changes to nicely X squared minus 4X minus 957 equals 0. We're looking for a number that multiplies to negative 957. We're going to add to get negative 4. So what that means is there's a gap between the numbers of 4. So again, you can use quadratic form if you want to. I'll show you how to do this on a calculator. So I'm going to take the square root of 957. That's around 31. So I'm going to say the numbers are going to be 29 and negative 33. Okay, there's a gap between these two numbers of 4. If you times them together, family equals 957. Now, the thing is, all 4 of these questions that we did today all factored out beautifully. All 4 of the questions that I gave you on your work paper today, none of them are going to factor. All right, so you can try your best to, I'll use the quick method here, factoring, to do the same questions with the quadratic formula. So here we're going to say X equals negative 29. We'll just throw out our X equals 33. So we'll say, therefore, 33 students had lunch and 29 paid. Alright, so that's all I got for you today. Now you should be given your homework sheet and work on that for the rest of the class. Please do not be discouraged if you didn't get these. These are definitely a struggle. These are probably the most difficult questions you have to do in this course, or other than the top 2 or 3. There might be a few ones a little later on in the course, a little bit trickier, but definitely these are challenging. We will be doing graphing tomorrow, so please bring graph paper with you. I'll probably give you your choice assignment later on in the week. It won't be due, I don't think, until after the March break, but we'll start talking about it tomorrow or Wednesday. Okay, thanks everybody, see ya.